Nice.
Welcome everyone to the mentoring program interest meeting. This is a partnership between FTC and STC Florida, and we are always very grateful to have it every year. So welcome, as the slide says. So just a quick FTC announcement before we dive in. Next week will be our October general body meeting. We are very excited to have a guest speaker presenting to us. Dr. Sarah Singer is a professor at UCF, and she'll be presenting on finding your fit in technical communication. So she'll talk about a lot of different types of technical communication jobs, give you the opportunity to reflect on where your skills and interests lie, figure out where you may need to grow in order to get to your target job type, and then talk about tailoring your resume and job search to that process. Also discussing things like public service loan forgiveness and other programs. So it's sure to be a great time. It'll start did not put it on the slide, but it will start at 6:30 p.m. and it will be on Zoom.
All right. So yeah, and then me and Bethany can do a quick introduction for ourselves. Welcome again to everybody, and thank you, Chantal, for the FTC introduction. So Bethany and I are the co-coordinators of the mentoring program that's jointly held between our club FTC and the larger organization, parent organization, STC Florida. And we're going to be talking a bit about the ins and outs of the program, and then all of us, plus, both of us, plus Chantal and Julia, will be talking about our mentoring experiences. So a little bit about myself. I'm a current technical writer at L3 Harris. I'm, as part of the STC Florida chapter, I'm on the admin council as well as vice president currently. Mentoring program co-coordinator, of course. Graduated from UCF a couple years back, a class of 22, with a BA in English, Tech Com. Former FTC president. We have a few in the call, and also joined the mentoring program as a mentee. First semester was in 2019, and my mentor. I've had a couple mentors, one of them including Bethany. So it'll be fun to talk through experiences, and that's a bit about myself.
Thanks, John. A bit about me. I'm notorious for not introducing myself, especially on Zoom. I get all hyped and start just talking at everyone about all the things that are coming ahead. But about me, I'm the director of product documentation at a company called Bullhorn. So it's a software application company, and love my job. It's lots of fun. I have a great tech writing team there. I am now the immediate past president of the Florida chapter, which I'm really hyped about. I loved being president, but I'm even more excited now that Julia, who's also on the call, is the president of the Florida chapter. She's got great things ahead as a leader, also supported by John as vice president. And I've been the mentoring program co-coordinator for many years, enough to make me feel old, ever since I got my BA and MA in technical communication from UCF. I also was an FTC president way back in the day. I've been a mentor since 2016, and I first joined the mentoring program in 2011, which feels about 50 years ago now, but I swear it wasn't that long. We used similar technology. We did have the internet. But the mentoring program is very near and dear to my heart. I know we've got an upcoming slide to talk a little about more our personal experiences. And just to get you excited about what you'll learn, you'll get to hear about how I maybe kind of sort of kidnapped John, and that's how he joined the mentoring program. So if you're interested in that, not exact admission to crime, stay tuned all the way through to our story sharing later on.
It all worked out in the end.
You can't
Trust
spoil
me.
it, John.
Yeah. Blink twice if I need help.
John's going, help. No. John's very happy, right, John? Right, John? It's all good. Yeah. So I figure we'll kind of go break down this presentation to a few parts. Please do feel free to ask questions along the way. We'll keep an eye on the chat. You can use the hand raise function if you want to ask out loud. You could physically raise your hand. I tend to be pretty good at watching videos. Whatever you'd like to do to get our attention, or anything you want to bring up along the way. So we'll be talking about what the Society for Technical Communication is. So we say they're the Florida chapter. What does that mean? John's got to go over some of the benefits of student membership. We'll get more into the nitty gritty of how the mentoring program works and then what the next steps are if you're interested in participating this year. So without further ado, what is STC about? First off, I didn't pick the acronym, so I know we have FTC and STC, and they sound similar. But really, FTC has been allied with STC Florida, previously known as the Orlando Central Florida chapter of STC for many, many, many years. And it's a key part of what I think has made STC something I want to be a member of as we continue to the future. So a lot of us in STC are former FTC members. I said that like it was a secret. It's not. We're very proud. But STC is the world's largest and oldest professional association dedicated to technical communication. So TechCom is where you want to be. STC is bringing people together who are interested in TechCom professionally, academically, as a side hustle for those who are in other professions as well. And it's people who are academics, practitioners, leaders. You see people in all different types of roles who are in STC. Different segments, industries, different styles of working, remote, in person. It brings everyone together under this banner of TechCom. And when we talk a little bit about the STC Florida chapter, that's a geographic chapter for STC. They also have special interest groups. So as you're getting further along in your TechCom journey, you might find there particular areas of interest like technical editing, or if you're interested in doing consulting work, and there's groups that help support those interests. So those people gathered together who meet online as well to discuss those topics, do educational programming, support each other. So lots of cool things that you can consider as part of your STC journey. But the Florida chapter. We've been around since 1977 under a variety of different names. First started as Orlando and then Central Florida, and now we are all of Florida. And we're really proud of our close ties to UCF, especially to the Future Technical Communicators Student Club, because like I said, that's where a lot of us got our start. I think the mentoring program has been a part of what's made our chapter special for years, because we've all kind of grown up as technical communicators and leaders through the program and into the professional space. And aside from the mentoring program, we also have monthly educational chapter meetings, networking sessions. Julia has cool stuff ahead as president. Like I said, there's lots of opportunities to engage. And it's really just, aside from the professional benefits, something to put on your resume, it's an opportunity to network and fellowship, share information with like-minded people. I've always said the thing I like best about STC and about our chapter is the community. It's the people that are in it, everyone who's in it. I think they're pretty cool people. I am also incredibly biased, so you'll have to come and find out for yourself if you want to find out if I'm right or not. But to talk a little about the student membership, I'm going to hand it to John.
Very cool. Thank you, Bethany. And yeah, that does sound like slight bias. Like, yeah, it's full of cool people. Like
us.
Yeah, like us here. Join us. No bias. But very, very true. So yeah, agreed on all those points about STC Florida membership. And student membership in specific has a lot of different benefits. Joining STC has benefits for pretty much anyone anywhere alongside or along their TechCom journey, whether you're joining as a student, or joining STC for the first time, or you can also be a member long into your career, just even decades in, or even just anywhere in between. So that's another perk of being an STC. You kind of get to be part of a collective group of professionals from the very start to the very end, and everybody is just, as we said earlier, just very friendly, very open to sharing information with you. It's a great community.
And the very end is retirement, just to be clear.
yeah. End of career. Yeah. like no, you must be like in STC meetings until the very
retirement.
Retirement. Yes. But yes, so some specific benefits of student membership: eligibility for STC honors, including Sigma Tau Chi and the STC scholarship. So those are great, including things like honor societies that are good, just to add on your resume, including like if you're an active STC member or if you're an active student member, you participate in a lot of projects, you can run for that. Same for the scholarship. Like if you're invested in STC, TechCom communities, putting out great work even academically, you can apply for those. Great resume builder, and scholarship, also good for your resume. Additional money, everything like that as well. I mean, yeah, got to. And volunteer opportunities and global initiatives. Yeah, also resume builders and skill builders as well. Great entryways to just get into tech comm. Networking with professionals across the globe through volunteering, access to the job bank, discounts on certification, webinars, and courses, and access to publications, including technical communication and intercom, two TechCom magazines. So those are great benefits of being an STC as a student member in general, getting those opportunities, throughout the international organization, applying to the honor society, scholarships, networking with people everywhere, all of those things you can get by any, just by being a student member and interacting anywhere. But the Florida chapter in specific, if you, interact with our little group over here in Florida, this call, the Florida chapter, our meetups, anything like that, yeah, it's a great opportunity to talk online or locally with just, those of us in Florida or around Florida about, and including just the community that we've built up over the years as well. We have a great group. And in this group, we've built up this mentoring program. Of course, we're going to talk more about the specifics soon. That's the benefit of joining the Florida chapter, just getting access to something really special about our chapter. Not every chapter does a mentoring program, so it's something we love to offer. Free chapter meetings for the rest of 2024 and all of 2025. So yes, being a paid student member of STC, you come to all the Florida chapters meetings for free as a student member. Usually they're paid for a certain fee or anything like that, but as a student member, nope, you're a member. Join in, talk to professionals, lots of benefits. Leadership development opportunities, local job listings, and networking with technical communicators across the state of Florida. So yeah, it's a great way to jumpstart your career and meet a lot of great people in many different ways, in and out of Florida.
All right. So I imagine you're here to learn a bit more about how the mentoring program works. We've got a few slides, but this is the point where I also expect you might have some questions. Feel free to ask along the way, or you can hold them to the end. We are flexible. So how does this work? Really, when we're thinking about the mentoring program, this is like I said, I started in STC in the mentoring program. I actually sat next to Dan Voss, who was the mentoring coordinator at the time, who was like, "Hey, great to meet you. Do you want to run a mentoring program with me?" And I said, "Sure," not really knowing exactly what I was getting myself into. But I was at that point in my time as a student where I was approaching graduation and thinking, "Gosh, I really hope these grades are going to be meaningful to someone in the professional world. How do I turn these into a job?" So it really clicked for me that this was a place I wanted to put my time and effort, and learning to run the program was great alongside Dan, who really helped me in my career. So the career guidance was invaluable, especially job search advice and assistance. What is it like out there in the professional world as it's always changing? How to translate what you've learned academically into a professional space is really critical. The polishing your resume. Not that you can't come out of school with a great resume, but how to present it for different types of roles, different industries, knowing those can vary wildly, and also how to grow your portfolio. You can start with all of the assignments you have for school, your academic work, but how can you continue to grow and build out that portfolio over time? The biggest project I did with Dan was we co-authored a chapter in a textbook together, which was harrowing but rewarding. It's an engineering textbook. You have not read it, but I'm still very proud of it. And then the last one, not that you have to have a mentor to develop your network, but it's really helpful. Dan opened a lot of doors for me. I probably do not read to you as very shy, but I am quite an introverted person. Early in my career, especially, I wanted to take my time to kind of like assess the situation. And I was like, oh, I'll develop a network eventually. And I was like, it's not happening organically. I really need someone to help me out and introduce me to people and schedule calls. And it really was not just essential for me like getting jobs, but for becoming a technical communicator. I now have people across STC, much like John does, as well, that you can call on for advice or help or, outreach. So makes you part of the wider, technical communication profession beyond just those people you've met in school. So, breaking it down to how we run the program. Essentially, step one, we have applications. So these are for mentors and mentees. So at the same time, we have mentee applications open if you're looking to be mentored. We also recruit mentors who fill out a very similar application, it's a slightly different version. They have questions more about how they like to teach than how they like to learn, a bit more about the professional experience. Because based on those applications, we go to the next step, which is pairing. So that's where the coordinators, which is John and I, in this case, review all the applications after the close date and do our best to pair up mentors and mentees who have overlap in interests and areas of expertise, some alignment on personality, where we have some personality questions on our application, availability. Some people also, we now have the option if you want to meet fully virtually or meet some in person. We try to accommodate that. We can't promise that we have like built your mentor in a lab if you're coming in as a mentee, but we've had some really successful pairings based on the application process. So that helps us kind of tailor the experience as much as we can. And then after we do that kind of pairing assessment piece, we let all the mentees know that you've been accepted to the program. We've never turned a mentee away because we haven't found a mentor. Occasionally, when we've had a large influx of mentees, we've reached out broader beyond the Florida chapter members to some of our, I was going to say associates, that sounds sinister, to some of our colleagues in other states and other Florida chapters to step up and do some remote mentoring. But we do let you know like that you have been assigned a mentor and we're excited to welcome you to the program. And that's when you are asked to sign up for STC membership. So when John mentioned that the mentoring program is one of the benefits of student membership, we do require that anyone who joins the program does sign up for that membership. It's $80 for a year, but if you sign up in 2024, you get the rest of this year and then all of 2025, and includes all the benefits that John went over. After we have all the pairings done, people sign up for their membership. We do a kickoff meeting. Back in the day, everyone was in Orlando and on campus at UCF, so we did these in person. But now we typically do them online or hybrid if necessary to introduce the mentors and mentees. So we don't send you off to meet an unknown person. Instead, we do some scheduled coordinated activities so that you get to know each other a bit. And as part of that session, you also plan out what you want to do for your mentoring. So from our perspective, we're all about providing guidelines and support, but not rules and mandates for how your mentoring must go. Maybe if you're coming into mentoring, you're not looking to have your resume polished because you're not at that point where you're looking for jobs yet. Or maybe you have a lot of confidence in your resume and you've already gotten an internship. So you might want to work on other projects with your mentor. It could be wanting to focus on doing some job shadowing or doing mock interviews. It's really something we think needs to be tailored to the individual mentee. So that's something you discuss with your mentor, and we have a agreement that you fill out where you kind of map out what you would like to accomplish together as a mentor-mentee pair. The mentor-mentee pairings are tended to run from the pairings, which should be this month, then through next spring is typically when we say the program runs. Just to be clear, though, we don't ban you from meeting your mentor in the future. We're not like, sorry, the mentoring program is over. You are no longer a mentor-mentee pair, because I'll be honest, John and Julia have both been my mentees, and they've been stuck with me way longer. But now we're in kind of a reverse mentoring situation where they get to mentor me as I become old and out of date on things. So it's really a reciprocal process after a certain point. But kickoff, you meet for the first time, you start to plan out your mentoring, and you schedule when you're going to meet, whether that's going to be in person, on a video call, phone call. I guess we're open to entirely other virtual meetings, whatever platform you choose. That's something that you guys decide together. And from there, you just set a cadence for when you want to meet, how you want to communicate, and what you want to accomplish. So it's very flexible, and it's something that you collaborate on together. Any questions about the overall process?
I have
Yeah.
a question.
Yeah.
I recently graduated from UCF. Can I still apply for the program?
Yes, of course. Yeah, great
Okay.
question. Yeah. I
Thank
should
you.
clarify, we do target primarily students, but recent grads or people who are transitioning into the profession are also welcome, because I know mentoring can be valuable to everyone who's especially in that early phase of your career. Yeah, you are more than
Okay,
welcome.
great. Thank you so much.
Mm. Any other questions? All right. Then I guess you get to hear from some mentors and mentees. I think we've got a few folks who have volunteered to do a little bit of story time sharing. And we just had a question, a prompt. What did you take away from your mentoring program experience? Julia, you are up first. Please say nice things. Just kidding.
Before you get to that, we did have a question in the chat. Are these offered in the summer? If you and your mentor want to continue into the summer, that is allowed. Technically, you can stay with your mentor for 3 years and then it can roll into Oh, help me out here. What
The
did we
the
call it?
leadership development program is kind of the next phase, yeah, after initial mentoring. We don't do the full program and kickoffs in the summer just because there's usually not as much activity happening to stand up the program, but we have done kind of ad hoc mentor mentee assignments sometimes. But typically we start around now. Hopefully that answers your question.
And you can let us know either by unmuting or in chat if that helped or if you need further clarification.
Mhm.
And with that said, I'm Julia Southwick. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the STC Florida President, Communications Chair, and Newsletter Editor. One of your projects could be, for example, to write for the newsletter, in which case I've got a little plug for you. I'm putting in chat. Go ahead and email me your ideas for an article you've written, a paper you wrote for class, whatever it is, as long as it's vaguely technical and vaguely communication, I'm likely to publish it. And I work at why am I blanking on the company's name? I'm sorry.
Because your company got acquired recently.
Yep.
Yeah.
JHT, which is now part of another company. And I was Bethany's mentor, and I now mentor Joy Carandang. I've had wonderful experiences with both of them, and I highly encourage you to join. When I joined as a mentee, I, like one of our question askers, was a recent graduate, and as Bethany had said earlier, was at the point of, I need a job and I can't get one by myself. I need help.
Mm-hmm.
And I was that stubborn kid who was like, nope, I'm going to do this all by myself. Don't make my mistake. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. You need a professional network. Some people say it's not what you know, it's who you know, and there is a grain of truth to that. If you have someone in the industry who can point you towards, hey, this is a job opening that might fit you, that does help so much. And even if you're not looking for a job, you can do interview practice. Or if you're going to be a student for a few more years, you can say, hey, I've got this project I worked on for class. Can you review it with me? And you'll be able to get feedback you wouldn't have gotten unless you went to a professional. And as Bethany said, yeah, you do get to a point with your mentee or mentor where you're learning as much from them as they are from you. It's a fantastic experience, and I would highly recommend it.
Thanks, Julia. Chantal, do you want to share a bit about your mentoring experience?
Yeah, definitely. So as it says, I'm a senior at UCF and I'm the president for FTC this year. And my experience with the mentoring program, I was a sophomore. I had just joined FTC, and Bethany is my mentor. And it was a very good time to get a mentor like that because I had just changed my major into technical communication. And so it was kind of a, oh, this was a great idea. What a great choice. Now what? Type of thing. So it was really helpful in learning more about the industry, especially preparing for getting an internship, so resumes and interviews. Bethany helped me a lot with that. And I am pleased to say her help was successful. And that way the mentoring program was great. Also in terms of just learning skills. So we did a bit on GitHub and Markdown, and just all around, like Julia was saying, definitely getting me more comfortable in the technical communication world. And just, yeah, it's been great.
Thank you. There are non-me mentors as well. Sorry, you just get to hear about me because I'm the one who's here for the meeting. I promise we have lots of other mentors who are also excellent.
I'm a mentor. I mentioned that.
Julia. I'm the grand mentor, sorry.
I'm just realizing now that like Bethany has mentored each of each of the three of us. I guess it's just hitting now. I'm like, wait a minute, this is like Bethany, you're showing off like each of each of us. Like, look at my mentees.
Look at these high quality mentees I have. Excellent people. I'm so proud of all of you. But yeah. So John, tell us about your experience.
On that note, like sweating, I'm like, ooh, it's like what like been paged to say nice thing. He's like, yeah, Bethany
Yeah.
is like the best mentor, blinking twice. But yeah, like legitimately, I joined the mentoring program a few years back, and then did transition into the leadership development program. So it's been yeah, a relationship in mentoring for a long time now, feels like.
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years, time flies. But all of it has been fantastic, especially the first few years in the mentoring program when I really did a lot of personal, professional, academic growth, just in terms of like what my next career steps would be, how to like really get integrated into the tech com field. Because there were classes and everything, but I feel like STC Florida membership and especially being a mentee helped really like really hone in on what I wanted to do, and also just my passion for there's a passion for tech com and how that kind of applies into volunteering also. I think the volunteering and the volunteering and skill development aspect was the biggest thing for me because I was also very, very shy, very, very much like don't put me in front of a room to talk. I cannot do this. Don't put me in front of a team. I will feel scared. There were many calls that I reminisce on talking to Bethany where I'm like, when I had just when I just got into leadership with FTC and was starting a new year as president, I was going to Bethany like, what do I do? What if they all hate me? And also, how do I delegate? Because if I give people responsibilities, what if they hate me?
They're not gonna hate you. The stakes are way lower than that.
It was much lower, and thankfully she helped a lot with just all of that and like encouragement encouragement and reassurance, and also just really just developing specific skills like inviting me to co-host meetings with the Florida chapter or to helping out with FTC Florida meetings, developing a lot of materials, even technical documents that took the shape of forums or communication materials, teaching me new applications to make graphics or to update my resume, update my portfolio. So a lot of things that kind of helped me and also helped me kind of step into volunteering and skill development, so that I could become, ultimately a better, professional community leader, all of that. And it was especially helpful just from the mentee side, being able to ask Bethany questions whenever I had one. And I had many, many. And just having that someone to be like, oh, how do I, this meeting is coming up. What would be a good way to run this? Or, oh, I'm applying for this job. How do I beef up my resume? That was even something that we did recently too, which was really great. And yeah, all of that and more. But especially school plus figuring out the future can feel like juggling a lot. I know for me, especially even when I approached senior year, it was okay, I'm juggling classes, but also I, want to beef up my resume and just because I enjoy doing it, like do some volunteering and all that too. And preparing for entering the job field like full time. So like having someone to bounce ideas, thoughts, hearing concerns between questions, all of that was really, really helpful. And it's just a fun experience also. Like we do our best to pair mentees with not just skill based, but also, if there's the opportunity, personality based. And I can't count the number of times I've just talked to Bethany randomly about shows we've watched. We were literally doing that just the other day, or like games we've played and random stuff like that too. So yeah, the mentorship experience has been great, and also just all the other side things that have come out of that, and I definitely recommend it.
Thanks, John. Do you want me to tell the story of your first STC meeting? Or would
I
you
think you
like
tell
to?
it best.
Oh, okay. So, first off, I'm very proud of all of my mentees, and Excuse me, sorry, I need to drink more water. I'll talk a little about the experience on the mentor side, but I did want to say I know I kind of gave the quick high level of how I got started in the mentoring program. Aside from the sort of like focus on getting a job out of school, the other piece that was really a big takeaway that started with the mentoring program was starting to see myself as someone who could be a leader. And one of the challenges about moving into leadership in the profession can be transitioning into a leadership role when they want you to have had leadership experience. So I really developed all of that in STC, and that started with the mentoring program. So if you're looking at not just like how do I get started in the profession, but how do I continue to grow, that really put me off on the right track. For the story, I had done some presenting to FTC back in person back in the day, and John, I think, had asked some questions. So I was like, I've made note. Here is a young person who is interested in STC. And then I was on campus for something else and ran into John and was like, I remember you from before. You were at that meeting about STC. Guess what? There's an STC meeting tonight. Hello, person who I don't even know if I knew your name, John. I was like, you can come with me. It's in person. Come, get into my car. Let's go right now to this meeting in the next like 30 minutes. And John's like, okay, cool. And we're like walking to my car, and I'm like, this is great. And all of a sudden it sets in, wait, am I taking him under duress? Am I kidnapping a student? So as we're getting there, I'm texting my husband, I might be kidnapping someone, but he seems cool with it. So keep you posted on how it's going. And John, you didn't think you were being kidnapped at the time, but I think in retrospect, we were like, well, I was just like, come, get into my car, young person.
No, I was just chilling in the passenger seat of that Honda Fit. Like, she
Yeah.
seems cool. I trust her.
I did take him to the meeting. It was a good time, and I took him home again. I did not actually kidnap him. So not all of our mentoring stories start with kidnapping. That's a unique part of our mentoring experience. But that means if you continue to come to other meetings, you might hear kidnap references. That's the story we're referring to. There have not been any other kidnappings.
I thought you were gonna finish that sentence like, if you come to more of our meetings, you might get kidnapped.
No. John, we're primarily virtual now. How am I going to accomplish that?
I hear a knock on the door just now.
So just then talking about both sides of the mentoring program, I mentioned like as a student, I was very mercenary and was like, I need to get a job so that I can make money to pay for my food and my shelter and eventually my health insurance. So that was really my focus to start, was just I need to get a job in TechCom. But having the support of a mentor also helped me figure out what I wanted that job to be as I got further along, what my ideal role would be like, because TechCom is a broad field with all kinds of different roles and job titles and strengths. So there were a lot of things it was great to get exposure to say, this is interesting. I'm into technical editing. I want to learn more about this. I've learned more about proposal writing. This is not for me. This seems way too stressful. I don't want to be working on proposals for like $1 million contracts. That's not my bag. So sometimes it helps just to get exposure to what is out there, because there is a great breadth and depth to technical communication. So I guess probably no one has questions about the story. You can message John directly if you're worried about him still being kidnapped. I promise he is fine, as far as anyone knows.
Yeah, message my personal email so I can tell you all the things. I can message you help. No, I'm just kidding.
But after all of that, I think we'll move on to the next steps. John, tell us what happens next for the program. Not the kidnapping, the program.
Yes, program only. Yes, so sorry, my mind was just still on that story. It's always fun.
That's all right. Applications.
Applications, yes. So if the details and that story were not enticing enough, okay, I'm done. But yes, all the details about the program we talked about are all the things you can really look forward to benefiting from the program for. And you submit the application, and that's kind of how we get all your information and pair you up with a mentor, and then go through the process to ultimately, if all lines up, pair you up with a mentor by the end of the month. In the coming weeks, we would do that process. And yeah, again, mentoring is a great thing to just, if you really want to level up in TechCom, or even if you're like, I want to get my foot in the door in TechCom, or just want to learn more, there's so many reasons to just get into it. Even if you're kind of scared about, oh, I'm not sure if TechCom is for me, you never know if mentoring might be the thing that kind of tells you, oh, TechCom is for me, or these are how I can develop these skills, all of that. So yeah, don't be afraid to apply. It's a great program, no matter how if you're just getting into TechCom or you really want to hone into your current interest in TechCom. So about the application, you can apply online for free. The link is in the chat to the Google form. It's pretty straightforward. You just answer information about like contact info, communication preferences, what kind of things you'd hope to get out of being in the mentoring program, and a few other related pieces of info. So you send that Google form in. The form itself is free. You can just send it in right away and anything like that. Information shared is used by the coordinators, Bethany and I, to pair you with a mentor. And if accepted to the program, you'll need to join STC and the Florida chapter for the $80 fee, rest of this year and next year. And then, the form is in, you've paid your membership dues, we pair you up with a mentor from our roster. And then the kickoff meeting, so the kickoff meeting will be planned for the end of the month. So yes, the main piece of info, send in that form first and foremost. Applications, we've set a due date of October 11th, so next week, Friday. So you have about a week and a half to just get to know your info. And again, you can submit the form anytime up to then, straightforward, free to send in the form itself. And then if accepted into the program, or if you just want to become an STC member, like tonight, whenever, you can just get the STC Florida membership in, but it is a requirement if you want to get connected with the mentor that we pair you up with after submitting the form. So we're aiming to send off an email follow-up with kickoff dates, times, confirmation about, oh, thank you for submitting your form. We want to pair you up with a mentor. Here's some next steps. Make sure that you're an STC Florida member. We hope to do all that by the 18th of this month after all the applications are in. And then the kickoff meeting, like I said, will be held by the last week of October. So and information about the mentoring program itself has also been linked in the chat. Awesome. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us about dates. We will have info on our Discord. You can do all of that. But the big one is forms in by next Friday. Yeah, and we're open to any and all questions from me, Bethany, Julia, Chantal. Any one of us can answer questions about the mentoring program, anything that you want to just know more about. Or if anything you want us to go back on, anything like that as well. Yeah, any questions around the room?